Forgive me if my voice is a little weak today. I've spent much of the last 24 hours screaming at my television set.
I hear that.
I look out on this crowd and I imagine that the Apostle John would say that this is the light of the world that will overcome the darkness of Donald Trump. My name is Roger McDaniel. I'm the pastor at Highlands Presbyterian Church, and I'm delighted to be here today to represent the progressive Christian community. During this campaign, there was a lot of talk about how the conservative Christians supported Donald Trump. Well, they don't speak for most Christians, and they sure as heck don't follow the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. You know, Christianity didn't just happen. Christianity grew out of an imperative to challenge and fight back against the Roman Empire. Yesterday, Donald Trump became the American empire, and we're called to resist and to fight back and to challenge. The separation of the church of state and church of state doesn't limit us from criticizing and being heard during these days to come. And we're here today not only to send him a message, but to send a message to Senators Enzi and Barrasso and Congressman Cheney. The plans that they have for health care, for Medicare, for Medicaid, for Social Security, for the environment, and so much more will hurt thousands of Wyoming people. And they need to hear the voices of everyone who is here today and all of the others in this state who recognize that this state may appear to be a one-party state, but in this crowd there are Democrats, Republicans, and independents and others who are ready to stand up against what we've heard is coming down the pike. We start off by harboring the hopes that Abraham Lincoln expressed, that the better angels of the nature of the men and women who are running the agencies in Washington and in the White House will appear. For that we pray. But for the worst we must prepare. We pray that Donald Trump will abandon most of his unjust campaign promises. But as we stand here today, it appears that those prayers are going unanswered. And as the early Christians prepared to boldly and bodily resist the Roman Empire, we are here today prepared to resist the American Empire. A fellow named Robin Myers wrote a wonderful book called The Underground Church. It provides a roadmap for traveling the coming years. Myers warned that in the coming, and he wrote before Donald Trump, but he said in the coming days, decisions will have to be made about when it is moral for members of the underground church to break the law in order to propose a higher law. Woo! Those days are upon us. We reject the anti-immigrant and xenophobic commitments made by the new president, including raising the specter of a Muslim registry. And let us commit that if this president follows through and requires Muslims to register as Hitler required of Jews, we will do the same. We will line up with our Muslim brothers and sisters and demand to be registered. If the new regime nullifies the marriages of our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, let us clog the courts with heterosexuals petitioning for the nullification of our own marriages. When immigrants feel threatened, let us educate them on their rights and help them be protected from abuses. And when the government sends deportation squads to seize undocumented immigrants and break up their families, let us find refuge for those brothers and sisters whom they seek to deport. And if they penalize sanctuary cities, let us turn our houses of worship into sanctuaries. If they do, as has been proposed in state after state, ban Muslim women from wearing burqas or other veils that cover their faces in public, let us wear burqas and veils that cover our faces. If President Trump succeeds in appointing justices who discard the nearly half a century old legal precedent of Roe versus Wade, let us act as did 19th century abolitionists. Let us pledge to create an underground railway to make sure women can find medically safe alternatives to risky back alley abortion. And if the new president does what he says he'll do across the board, let us raise money and support the ACLU, Wyoming Equality, the Sierra Club, Planned Parenthood, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and others who will fight the good fight on our behalf. We're not here today as partisans, as Democrats or Republicans. We are here, as Martin Luther King said, to be extremists. To be extremists as Jesus was an extremist for love. To be an extremist like the prophet Amos was an extremist for justice. Dr. King said, the question is not whether we will be extremists, but what kind of extremists will we be? Will we be extremists for hate?
No!
Or extremists for love? Will we be extremists for the preservation of injustice?
No!
Or for the extension of justice?
Yes!
It is decision time in America. Which side will you take? Where will you draw the line?